Are you a good man, Sir Davos Seawood?
I'd say my parts are mixed, milady. Good and bad.
If half an onion is black with rot, it's a rotten onion. A man is good or he is evil.
Which are you?
Oh, good. I'm a knight myself of sorts. A champion of light and life.
Melisandre of Ashai, often known as the Red Woman or the Red Witch, is one of the most controversial and misunderstood characters in A Song of Ice and Fire. Although many people often see her as a sinister figure, a sorceress who burns people alive for a red god, Melisandre's true purpose is actually a lot more important and even more heroic than it seems. As a devout priestess of the Lord of Light, Melisandre believes that it is a sacred duty to prevent the return of an apocalyptic darkness, doing everything in her power to stop the White Walkers and the long night that comes with them. In that regard, Melisandre is often a very misunderstood character, and she even says so in the books when she describes herself as a knight of sorts, a champion of light and life. George R. R. Martin himself says that Melisandre is a very misunderstood character, and this latter quote actually indicates why. Melisandre clearly sees herself as a force for good, fighting to save the world from eternal darkness. Even though Melisandre purports to be a champion of light and good, many people, readers and characters within the story, initially view her as an evil villain. Within the narrative of the books, Melisandre inspires fear and hostility, even amongst good characters like Davos Seaworth, a morally good and sympathetic character. In the story, Davos often wonders if Melisandre is a good person, but he cannot overlook the terrible and horrific deeds she's done. In A Storm of Swords, he thinks to himself, "She killed Cresson and Lord Renly, and a brave man named Courtenay Penrose, and she killed my sons as well. Now it is time someone killed her." To Davos, Melisandre is nothing but an evil sorceress responsible for murder and shadowy magic, from assassinating Renly through a shadow creature to burning faithful noblemen on the stake.
Please! You're my sister!
Those are the stars that guide us.
Her role as Stannis' fiery advisor, urging him to burn idols and sacrifice infidels, only paints her as a fanatic more than anything else. This negative perception is only made worse when she decides to burn the young Shireen Baratheon, sacrificing her life in order to secure Stannis' victory in the Battle of Ice. This becomes an unforgivable atrocity that leaves many viewers recoiling in horror, but it also paints Melisandre as the classic evil witch, using innocent blood to fuel her dark magic. It's therefore easy to understand why so many people see her as a villainous character with no redeeming qualities. However, these impressions of Melisandre's character are oversimplified. In the books, George R. R. Martin gradually reveals that Melisandre's horrific deeds spring from a sincere, if extreme, belief that she is doing what must be done for the greater good. We are meant to question her methods, but also to see the larger context that she is fighting a greater evil. As we look closer, it becomes clear that Melisandre is not driven by malice or personal gain. Rather, she is driven by prophecy, faith, and a desperate determination to save the world from a coming doom that only she and the readers seem to notice. From the moment that Melisandre arrives in Westeros, she is laser focused on the prophecy of ice and fire and finding Azor Ahai. This is why she becomes Stannis Baratheon's closest counselor in the first place, because she sincerely believes that he is the chosen savior who is meant to lead the fight against darkness. In her eyes, Stannis' war for the Iron Throne is just a stepping stone. The true war will be against the gathering darkness in the north.
This war of 5 kings means nothing. The true war lies to the north, my king. Death marches on the wall.
Melisandre means that the War of the 5 Kings is nothing when compared to the looming war against the Great Other, and that is why she supports the idea of Stannis going north to the war. Leading Stannis to the war is basically Melisandre's way of leading him to what she considers to be the real battlefield in the Great War. When the Night's Watch sends out a plea for help against the White Walkers and Wildlings, Stannis heeds the call, something neither he nor Melisandre had originally planned. But Melisandre wholeheartedly supports this move as it aligns perfectly with the belief that the true enemy is the army of darkness beyond the wall. Melisandre even takes active steps to ensure the mission's success, going so far as to sacrifice King Stannis' own kin, Lord Alistair Florent, in a fire ritual in order to get favorable winds on the long voyage to the north.
Sir Axel was my uncle. He was always kind to me.
They're in a better place now, princess. The fire cleansed them of the sins of the world.
But notice how this terrible deed is done with the intention of a greater purpose, getting Stannis to the wall and fighting the Great War. Thanks to Melisandre's magic, Stannis actually reaches the wall swiftly, and is then able to defeat the Wildling host and position his army to fight the army of the dead. Melisandre is even a great help in defending the wall with her fire magic. During the Battle of Castle Black, she uses her powers to aid the defenders of the realm, striking at one of the enemy's supernatural advantages. Varamir Sixskins is a wildling that uses his eagle to spy and terrorize the Night's Watch, but Melisandre is able to neutralize him when she calls upon Rollo's fire to destroy the eagle mid-flight, causing Varamir to go mad with pain and blinding the wildling army's surveillance. This act of sorcery, burning a foe that normal weapons couldn't touch, saves lives on the wall. It's a clear example of Melisandre using her fire magic to protect the living. And even afterwards, she continues to hold huge bonfires every night, known as night fires, to rally the faithful and keep the darkness at bay. These night fires are meant to unify the living and prepare them for the forces of darkness. And Melisandre shows a lot of pragmatism when it comes to unifying humanity against the greater threat. At Stannis' behest, she allows the defeated wildling warriors to pass through the wall and join Stannis' army, provided they symbolically swear loyalty to the Lord of Light. Now Melisandre is not dumb. She knows that most of them are only pretending to accept Rollo while secretly keeping to their old gods. But she also understands that bringing the wildlings over to the side of the living is an important strategy to implement at this point. If Melisandre were truly and mindlessly cruel, she could have urged Stannis to slaughter the wildlings or burn them as infidels. But instead, she helps fold them into Stannis' host, increasing the ranks of those who will fight the White Walkers. In the books, she even decides to spare the life of Mance Rayder, the king beyond the wall, because she believes that it will serve a greater purpose in the battle against the darkness. In public, she agreed to burn Mance Rayder, but secretly, she used the glamour spell to swap Mance's appearance with another man's. The wildling leader was spared, while a condemned murderer, glamoured to look like Mance, went to the flames. Instead, Melisandre kept Mance alive in disguise, later sending him on a covert mission to rescue a girl believed to be Arya Stark, which she hoped would rally the Northern Lords to Stannis' side. In doing this, Melisandre again shows her ultimate goal. Every decision is about positioning the pieces for the greater war. Every move that she makes is a justification for the greater end goal, saving humanity against the coming darkness. This is Melisandre's ultimate goal, her greatest destiny within the narrative of A Song of Ice and Fire. Even her most terrible proposals, such as sacrificing King Robert's bastard, Edric Storm, to wake stone dragons for the war, are presented as drastic measures intended to save the people of the world from a greater enemy. In Melisandre's mind, she isn't a murderer or a fanatic. She's a soldier in a cosmic war, doing what no one else has the courage or knowledge to do. I think the best way to understand Melisandre's character is by looking at her inner thoughts and beliefs, because Melisandre is not a cackling witch who knows she's evil. Instead, she's a profoundly sincere believer, a woman who is completely convinced of the righteousness of her cause. In A Dance with Dragons, she finally gets one POV chapter that substantiates this, supporting the fact that Melisandre's private thoughts show no guile or secret lust for power. Instead, she is a woman who is surprisingly fearful, dedicated, and completely focused on the war to come. She's constantly thinking about the burden that rests on her shoulders, thinking to herself, her bed saw little use. She had no time for sleep, with the weight of the world upon her shoulders. Sleep is a little death, dreams the whisperings of the other, who would drag us all into his eternal night. This vivid glimpse into her mind shows how truly terrified Melisandre is of the great other, even foregoing sleep because she won't let her guard down at night. I think that this little internal monologue actually shows that Melisandre doesn't revel cruelty or power for its own sake. Rather, she sees herself as the only one willing to make the necessary sacrifices to prevent the looming cosmic disaster in the future. The fact that she feels the weight of the world indicates how seriously she takes her responsibility to protect humanity. Melisandre's background also sheds a lot of light on her fervor and dedication. We learn that she was once a slave girl named Melanie, sold to the Red Temple of Rollo as a child. Essentially, her entire life has been defined by the Red Faith and its mission to hold back the darkness. She has known hardships, pain, slavery, but through that pain, she found purpose in the service of the Lord of Light. It's implied through both the books and the TV show that Melisandre might be far older than she looks, possibly kept alive for centuries by the fire of Rollo, all the while preparing for the final battle against the Dark One. All of that paints a picture of a woman who has sacrificed her personal identity and mortality to become a living instrument of her God. In her eyes, she has already given everything to this cause, so asking others to give everything, even their lives or their children, can be justified.
A great gift requires a great sacrifice.
Of course, this doesn't excuse her extreme actions, but it certainly explains how she views the world. She sees the world on a stark binary of morality, and she even tells the Black Brothers of the Night's Watch, we all must choose, man or woman, young or old, lord or peasant. Our choices are the same. We choose light or we choose darkness. To her, there is no middle ground. It's either you're good or you're bad. There's nothing in between. Personally, Melisandre has chosen the side of light, the side of life, warmth, and humanity. And so whatever it is that she must do, no matter how cruel or horrible, that serves the light, is ultimately the right thing to do for her. That is why Melisandre doesn't see herself as an evil person. Quite the opposite, actually. She believes that she is working for the side of light and goodness. Her journey is ultimately one of a woman who is fighting to save the world and being hated for it. She operates in the shadows of kings, and she does things that are morally questionable. but she believes that she is doing what no one else has the courage to do. She believes that she's the only one who understands the terrible alternative of doing nothing. In this great story that's filled with political schemers who only look out for their own self-interests, Melisandre stands apart as someone whose endgame is strangely, entirely selfless, trying to preserve life and humanity. What do you think about Melisandre's character? Do you think she's a good person trying to save the world? Or do you think that she's an evil, religious fanatic? Let me know down below in the comments section, and if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for more content. Thank you very much for watching the video. Peace.